Hello, good morning. Welcome in to another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is a beautiful sunny day here in the Midwest. Kyle joining me today. We're just flip-flopping around. I missed on Thursday and Friday. Huddie is in Europe, I'm hearing. I must have missed a lot. But so we got Kyle with me today. I'm back and ready to go as we kick off another month, the sixth month of the year, the second day of that month, year of our Lord 2025. But got to get my monthly recap for May done. I was golfing over the end of last week into the weekend, got home yesterday, so ready to jump back into it. Saw we had some good runners at the end of last week. I know it wasn't my sweet old Fannie Mae, but it was there was a decent amount. I saw some reversals work out, so congrats to anyone who did put a little bow on their month with some quality movers. We had SBET. Was the one over the weekend BM something, BMLG or no?
Yeah, both. You'd love this, Don. Both crypto related. SBET was Ethereum,
Hey.
and then the B1 was Bitcoin related, but it was late. Like the PR that they were buying Bitcoin was like a week ago, and for some reason, Friday it just went. So.
Wow. How did you do anything on the short side on that Friday or?
No, thankfully. I kind of regret not shorting SBET only because it would end up being really sick backside. But no, I'm still been kind of blacklisting them in my brain. So.
Alrighty. Well, all right. We got some gappers as well. Got a few in the hundreds. We got one up 500%. Is that real?
I don't see it. What's
Probably because it's at $30 now.
Oh yeah, my scanner doesn't get over 20.
It only started at like $5, so.
Oh, casually.
Now, high of 40, it looks like, in pre-market. So we'll talk about that one, talk about some other GAPAs that we see. Get those questions going in the live chat as well, and we'll get to those towards the end of the show once we wrap up with the gappers. Hit that subscribe button as well. Thumbs up on the video. And next week, correct? Or 8 days from now, so next Tuesday, we have our all-day webinar, which... do you have the link right there ready to go, or I
can find it for you real quick.
I thought I had it, but I re-switched the settings back to the old way because it wasn't going unlisted.
There we go.
I'll pin that comment into the live chat. That's the wrong button. All right, we'll do that, and then we will get after it here. So you can just click that link if you want to get signed up for the all-day webinar. It's just basically access to me, Huddie, and Kyle for the entire trading day. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., we'll be here answering questions, talking about plays, talking about the patterns. You just get to hang out with us, and you'll get pretty great discounts, better than most of our holidays, if you wanted to try out 3 or 4 leaf. I know a lot of people have been asking about that. So this is your time to get in for a low price and potentially come hang out with us for the rest of your life. If that's what you choose to do. But alrighty, we got Thomas in here, Randy, William, Chris, Mazen, Roz, William. Good morning. Happy June. I think that means we're in the summer, or are we not technically in the summer? Are we in summer?
Oh, why do I feel like summer started July 20th or June 20th? Technically, one of the 20th.
So we're not there yet. All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, couple biggest gaps of the day. Let's talk about that big one, LYRA, Lira Therapeutics. Sorry, I know I didn't get in trouble last week for coughing. It was more slurping and burping, but sorry about the cough, everybody. Throat just got itchy, and I had to let one go. I'm sorry about that. All right, Lyra Therapeutics out of the United States of America. Biotech with a 1 mil float. That feels right, considering we've gone from 5 to 40 today already. We'll talk about similarities that my brain's already thinking about with probably SBET there. But let's see what the news is. Phase 3 trial. Significant results for primary and key secondary endpoints in the treatment of CRS, which is rhinosinusitis. Sinusitis. But phase 3, I don't remember which the one was last week that had phase 3 news, but it I think did work, or it did have some continuation. But for those who don't know about biotechs, that's kind of like the last stage, right? The last trial period before we get to move the drug onto the market.
What, trial
FDA
3?
approval. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, so I don't know. No expert, but I can't help but I wouldn't shock me though if there was something that along the lines of like trial 3, and then there's one more thing that's not a trial, but it's like some other obstacle you got to jump, and then you go full time. You're in the marketplace. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah. All I know is that when you rarely ever see phase 3, I feel like, because most people don't get there passing the tests along the way. But you do see a ton of phase 1 and 2, and that is usually just they're on the right track, but they still got a long ways to go. Historically is high here. Overhead supply is low. 9.3 months of cash left. Do they have any dilution here? Some warrants at 133. We got a March 2024 ATM open with 2.1 million left and a shelf. Okay. Take a look at the daily chart here of LYRA. Do some backtracking, see if there's any other key runs or resistance levels. Not seeing much. It looks like about a year ago something bad happened. Maybe a reverse split. I actually can see this maybe not being a reverse split, but 300's down.
Yeah, it's got that look, but at the same time, it's like if it never did a reverse split, pretty impressive to kind of stay alive.
Yeah, and it could have just been, what is that time period here? That's May of last year.
Yeah.
They were doing phase 3 results back then too. But that is weird. I don't see any news from that past. It was some earnings. Okay, on 4/30. But that is a significant drop. And since then, we really have not done a whole lot in terms of big volume. We've kind of gone sideways. That gap was into the 20s, and we've gotten as low as the 2s and 3s. But I don't think there's a ton of daily chart explanation needed here, because I feel like this is just a really big runner in the gapper space. Not any real resistance overhead that's inside of that gap. Volume is decent. What is that? $300 million volume right now. So plenty of volume. And it's a high price stock, similar to SBET was when it just had its run from. I was actually looking at that last night, and I was like, well, that's like pretty insane reward. Even if you just looked at it reversal, just looked at it as a breakout, like $30 a share to $1.20, that's like wild. Like it doesn't look like that on the chart. When you start doing the math, it's like, I know that's just a 4x or 300%, but there's like, we always talk about cheap stocks being possible plays to like make phenomenal risk reward with smaller accounts, but not often you can buy a $30 stock and get 4x. But SBET being a higher price stock, I think LYRA is probably now going to fit into that type of theme. I feel like once they get, you didn't even come on your scanner, right? Once they get out of the $10 area, it's kind of no man's land, and it kind of just really depends on how many shorts are getting squeezed. Right now, the intraday action is really quite clean on this one, pretty much straight up morning spike and then sideways right now, sitting towards the highs. How are you feeling about the potential gap and crap here?
So my first instinct is like avoid, just because it seems legit with the trial phase 3. But at the same time, it's also phase 3. Like even with that, there is still some time a ways before FDA approval. And even beyond that, like I tend to have been like, or I be avoidant of ones I deem to be good, but there are ones that are great and still crap themselves. Like, there's no way of telling. It's still a guessing game, but like there are times where I've seen really good news from really good companies still offer an incredible gap and crap, and it's only then 2 weeks later, a month later, the actual news is digested and they go on much higher to where I thought they were going to do that day one, but they don't do it day one and they actually crap themselves. So I am leaning towards, if I had to guess, this would be that scenario, only because it's already at 500%. Like, how much higher are we really going to go? Of course, the answer is higher. It could, but I don't know. I would find this one, the odds I think would have it difficult pushing 35, 40 and staying there all day. Does it go back down to 2015? I have no idea, but I would, just from that sheer fact, that's all I've got really. That's the only level of conviction I have. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like there's been quite a few of, $20 to $40 gappers recently. Was SBET in that range? Um, yeah, kind of on day one there. I'm trying to remember what day of the week was that one. That was Monday or Tuesday. Um, but I feel like from the gap and crap perspective, the only good one that recently has been KDLY, which actually was a good one right into the $30 area that faded really, really hard. Um, yeah, it's always funny because it's like the ones that sometimes are the best short setups are the scariest ones because if you've ever longed a lot of stocks, you probably know how come every stock I'm not in or that I watch goes up 500%, and every stock I am prepared for instead can't run 20% before it gives back 50%. And that's just how it is. Sometimes the scarier ones get scarier, and as more shorts are involved, as there's more momentum, if there's a potential theme, that's when you see a stock that you would think, oh, it's up 400%, it can't possibly go any higher, turns into the one that's now up 1,200% on the day. So that's where that fear is probably coming from for Kyle. I see it too, but it is a nice spike and a big gapper so far to kick off Monday. Alrighty.
Next one here.
OGEN.
OGEN. This was a good runner back in the day when it was at like $12, but that was years ago.
Yeah, I remember this one. United States Biotech Orogenics. Let's see.
Yeah, back in 2021, this is a sick runner.
We'll take a look at the chart here in a second. 5 days ago, they announced a 1-for-30 reverse split. They got phase 2 stuff coming in Australia 20 days ago. You have any other news that I'm not seeing that's fresh?
I'm not seeing anything else.
I'm guessing the reverse split hasn't happened yet, or it has?
Let me look this up. It announces
Were they 1 penny? Oh, I guess that wouldn't be. No, it would.
They were at 12 cents roughly. When did this go through? It should go through. Oh, wait, what? As a result, the company's expected to be trading on split just basis tomorrow. So they approved it May 27th, and by tomorrow it should be live. So if it closed at 30, it's not going to, in my opinion, but if it closed at 30 cents right now where it's trading at, it would open up at $9 tomorrow versus opening up at like $4 if it stayed at 12 cents. So
that's a difference.
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't have any other news besides that. You don't see a lot of stocks get pumped into the reverse, or I guess I don't know. I feel like I've seen a lot of people buy stocks for no reason after the stock has reverse split, but going into it's an interesting one. Interesting strategy there, Cotton. But we got a decent spike right now, up 166%. Was up higher towards 50 cents, has lost some of that speed right now, doing upwards of 100 mil volume. We have a pretty nice gap and crap looking candle back in February this year where we opened, spiked just a bit, and then kind of gave all the way back there. You were mentioning what year? Oh, that's a long time ago.
2021 had some sick multi-day runs there.
Yeah, and it's probably done some reverse split since then, I'm guessing. Because those
are
in the 100.
Back then it was like $12, and now it's at like 200. So some kind of split.
Okay. Yeah, this kind of looks like a shortened resistance. If it's up 150 to 200% for a gap and crap, it has good precedent, good history of failure. The volume at this point doesn't look like it's going to completely overwhelm that previous spike day. News is that we don't really have any, and that it's going to reverse split tomorrow. So I can't imagine a lot of people are like, I guess I don't know. I wouldn't want to swing into that, but yeah, I think all signs kind of point to failure here. But as always, you never really know. It's up 166% right now, so is one of the bigger gappers, lower priced. Kind of a nice dichotomy there with a $40 stock and a 30-cent stock. But that is OGEN. Do you have any extra thoughts on it?
Nope. I've never seen one spike going into a reverse split. That's quite interesting, but history of the chart would suggest it doesn't stay up here, if I had to guess. But we'll see.
We'll always see. We'll know.
Yeah, we're always going to have to find out.
All right. INM, your next biggest gapper of the day. InMed Pharmaceuticals. We've seen this one this year.
Yeah.
1 million float out of Canada.
Canada.
No news? You don't see any news?
Two last PR I have is 2 years ago.
Okay.
Oh God, let me just double check that.
Which is weird
On
because
the
it's definitely
29th, did this run after hours? No, this started this morning, didn't it? No, it was up a little bit pre-market. Let me go back. Yeah, on the 29th, well, actually, that wasn't even Friday, though. Some kind of SEC filing was filed. Says letter, special meeting of shareholders to be held virtually on June 13th. So they're just letting people know that their shareholder meeting is June 13th virtually. So maybe not that, but there was a filing. So no, I don't see any actual PR or anything like that.
You don't even see news from the Gap and Crap in January, do we?
Interesting.
All right. Any dilution here? It says offering ability is low. 5 months of cash left. Looks like all stuff at higher prices or none. Nothing on that ATM terminated. All right. Interesting setup here. INM. Let's take a look at the chart. This is the day we're talking about in January, which kind of similar daily so far to that. I'm blanking. When Ogen, whatever one we just talked about, got some resistance up in the 8s. It was a really clean gap and crap day. It wasn't really that big of a morning spike before giving most of it back. Volume is pretty synonymous with where we're at right now. So if this is one that it's holding up into the late morning, probably is going to overwhelm those volume days. And then you go back into last year in August, and you have a very similar gap and crap big red candle as well, where we gapped, spiked very small, and then faded all day. So we got resistance overhead, decent volume, no news, and a history of failure. Must we say more?
Must we say more?
That means that's your biggest runner of the day, probably, right?
Yeah. Nice synopsis there.
But yeah, that's kind of how we analyze it. That's what we look at. Doesn't mean every single time you see some sort of history of a certain behavior on a stock that it always works that way. But it does happen that way sometimes. So this is INM, no news, up 143% right now. My goodness, we are still on gappers.
We have more popping up?
Okay, no, we should be good there. Those are your biggest ones up. 477%, 116, 142. How's everyone doing out there? Let's see. And a couple people talking about the trial 3 and then arrow sign FDA approval. I'm saying that's the order. There's still FDA review, then approval. Okay.
There we go.
Let's see. Dom, are we making any taco trades today? Is that a ticker or
There's some I don't know, meme or news about tacos and the presidency. I haven't looked into it.
in the what?
I don't know. I just see like there was like a stream between Elon and Trump on like Thursday, Friday, and like everyone just sending taco emojis. So I feel like I don't feel hip anymore. I didn't immediately find out what it was about, and I just kind of left it alone. So I don't know. Someone enlighten us. Someone inform us.
Okay. Yeah, the answer is no for me for right now, though. I wasn't even going to make
if there is any
tacos
taco
today.
trades, it's no.
All right, so let's do some questions. It says Trump always chickens out. What does that mean for a trade?
Oh, that's what taco means. Trump always chickens out. Like it's an abbreviation now.
For what is that? What kind of trade would that be? Like
Yeah,
buying this buy, shorting this buy for tariff news or something, or I don't know. All right, someone asks, is ALZN, do I like it for a first screen day? I do not. And then someone else asked about the difference between first screen day and reversal. It would be a really good conversation for an all-day webinar. But in general, reversal is just the exact criteria from Gratani's DVD Trading Takers 2, where he says 300% run. This one does not have that. 300% run followed by at least one red day, and then looking for a bounce back into that resistance. A first green day is just the pattern that I've traded. It's the same idea, but with different, not the most perfect criteria ever. But it's looking for the same thing, except for on that one, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 300% run, but I would want to see the front side be a really clean, like multi-day run. It's usually the way I would have traded OTCs with bounce backs, but like 95% of the trades I take these days looking for the backside bounce is the reversal criteria, where I like to just wait, make sure I get 300%. And if it's not 300%, it needs to be like a really in-play stock or an in-play theme that everyone's talking about. Something like, the quantum stocks in fall of last year, where everyone's watching them, everyone is trading them and wants to get out on the next move for them. But they are, what do I going to say? But not necessarily 300% moves over and over and over again. Okay. So it's so frustrating as a day one long, have these moves up 100% in just 2 or 3 1 minute candles. I could see that being frustrating.
It's pre-market for you.
Okay, 918, looking for some good ones. Robert says LVWR for a multi-day breakout. Well, that already broke out on Friday. So not really a breakout now, just a continuation. And then SGN, I did see that one. I think that was a gapper that did run 300%, 6 times 4, yeah. But that one also is tricky if you're going off of reversal criteria because it was green on the day. Oh, wait. Green day? Green day. So that does, wait, was it red? God, I hate when the candles are all wacky back and forth. But, yeah, that does fit criteria. I think just barely on the dollar volume, yeah. All right, any last second questions? 919. Kyle's got to get out there to click some buttons. Do you have any words of wisdom today, Kyle?
Usually, or similar words of the last day of the month. If it's the first day of June, it's just another day. I wouldn't try to view it as this whole new period of to be better or to do better than you did 72 hours ago. It's just another day. The market's trading the same. You should be trading the same to your system and strategy and trade following and or trade plan following. So yeah, stick with that. Stick with the process, and good things will come over time. So
how beautiful! Another gapper popping up right now. IRD.
Lord,
looks like I got news or something at 8:30, and then just kind of caught some. Let's just real quickly look. This one's kind of weird. It's got like a 60 mil float, and they also have phase 3 trial.
Yeah.
News. All right, another gapper. Add it to the list. That's 4, I think, over 100% this morning.
That's a lot.
All right, 10 minutes to go for the open. I hope you guys have a wonderful day as we kick off this new month. We'll see all you Clovers in the room right now, and you'll get access. You'll get your webinar schedule coming up here just in a little bit as well. Make sure you get signed up for the all-day webinar coming up next week on Tuesday, June 10th, and we will see you there. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8:45 a.m. for another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq.